Denver, UC San Diego. Thoughts on the draw?
We control what we can control, so we're extremely excited to go to an amazing city. I love Denver, Colorado, and so just very grateful that this team can continue playing, and we have another opportunity in postseason play.
Do you happen to have any knowledge about UC San Diego yet?
I do a little bit. Yeah, I actually had them on my list of teams to study this offseason, so I get an early head start.
Why? Fans are upset that where you are related to some other Big Ten teams. You won this tournament and you still got a 5. Do you care about that at all? What's your response to that?
I think we'll go out there with a little bit of extra edge. But this team's motivated intrinsically by the right things. So, like I said, we control what we can control. We're grateful to be a part of it. And matchups and all those things are much more important than what numbers next to your name.
I know that celebration and that trophy is pretty important to this team, but it seems like guys have very quickly turned the page.
Absolutely, and I'm sure they're exhausted as well. 3 games in 3 days, and to fight as hard as they did, and had some injuries, and we were down some bodies. And so, yeah, but they know that we have a high ceiling, and we don't feel like we've came anywhere close to reaching it. So we're just trying to get better, continue working, and once again, just enjoying that this group can continue on.
I want to ask you the same question I asked you on the court, just what you can take from winning 3 games in this tournament, in this environment, how much that can help you going into next week.
Well, it's obviously much more difficult to win 3 and 3 than it is 2 in 3 days. But I was really impressed with our guys' mental stamina, their physical stamina, and their attention to detail and the scouts. It's gotten us to this point, and here's where we are, where our players could have ran the scouting report. And that's what we're trying to be. We're trying to be a player-led program. We're trying to train and create independent thinkers, and these guys are on it. So I don't think there's going to be any less enthusiasm towards getting ready for our next opponent.
With your first opponent being one that you said you studied, what did jump out studying them?
I was planning to study, so
okay.
I did an early head start on it. So yeah,
it.
actually, and thank goodness our season's not over where we start our off-season studies either. So like I said, I've met their coach on the road recruiting because they've had immediate success as they've transitioned, and I'm a big fan of our profession in our game, so I've kind of just bumped into him and said hello, but I've heard great things, and they're known as being a really, really good basketball team.
Dusty, can you just talk about your defensive intensity, even when shots weren't falling, and the concentration on that end of the court today?
It was impressive. I thought we challenged every spot. We challenged passes. We challenged positioning. I thought our communication was as good as it's been all year, and they have a lot of weapons, and they throw a lot of challenges at you, and I thought our guys just stayed the course. It wasn't pretty. I know in my press conference I said we'd be easy on the eyes to watch. I'm not sure that was the case for 40 minutes today, but a mud fight is not always bad either, so we found different ways, and we made enough shots when we needed to, but more importantly, the level of, I guess, confidence and belief our guys have down the stretch is something that gives me even more confidence going into the tournament.
It feels like those are magic ingredients for teams to make deep tournament runs. You've done it before. How much do you think you guys are set up because of just the way this team trusts each other and plays together?
Well, we have a similar mindset. It's one and done, so it's not as if you can mimic the run. But I do think our fearless approach, I think our guys are unafraid of failure. They don't know what it is. We just keep going and going. And then when it gets late, then you have to start playing a little more time and score. But other than that, they just play. They're not looking at the bench. They're not looking in the stands. They're just consumed with supporting each other and working and trying to win that game, that possession.
Dusty, you said in your press conference you wanted to win in year 1. Did you envision that would end with you wearing this hat this year?
Winning's so subjective. We're playing such great programs, and so I didn't know what winning looked like, but I thought that this team had a chance to do something like this. There's just so much that comes in along the way with injuries and health and foul trouble or whatever the case. So I don't think I envisioned an actual championship, but I knew it was possible because of the guys that were in our locker room.
You mentioned Denver. Roddy brought it up. I mean, being from experience in Utah, he talked about altitude. I guess, do you think about, and you guys leave no stone unturned, do you even think about little things like that?
Yeah, this is the first thing I thought of when I was at Louisiana Tech and we were in the WAC. before charter flights. We were in the conference where we would travel to Hawaii for a game and San Jose for a game. So we played at Denver under an unbelievable coach named Joe Scott. And when you played them at home, you had a chance to win. But when you went out there, to quote a good friend of mine, Isaac Brown, the former coach of Wichita State, he said they look like the Denver Nuggets. And so the altitude is real, but we're not. San Diego, last time I checked, is sea level.
Yep.
So actually, I think we have a little bit of advantage there. The mountainous Ann Arbor community.
800 feet.
LJ kept you in the game there when you guys fell behind.
LJ was a lighter for us. I mean, we were there, and the fire was kind of dim, and I thought he poured some gas on that thing and got us going. And that's the beautiful thing about him joining us. We knew what was inside of him, and he hit a wall maybe 60% through the season, and a lot of freshmen do, especially when you're not playing as much as you feel like you should. You're used to being a big part of the actual games, and it wasn't happening. And credit to him and his circle around him. Simply stayed the course, kept working, and he's looked reinvigorated for about 5 weeks. He's deserved to play more a lot this year, and we went with older guys. We've chosen different routes because for whatever reason we make decisions, but just credit him for staying the course. And we don't win this game tonight if he doesn't get us going. We might have found another way, but he was the one that got us started, and his belief, I saw the look in his teammates' eyes when he started making some plays, and that's what we needed tonight.
First 35 minutes of the game seemed to kind of roll by pretty fast, and then towards the end there, 3 back-to-back reviews. Do you feel like that kind of stopped the momentum? Do you think it actually kind of gave your team the time to rest?
You know, the momentum thing I think is real, so you just take the positive. It gave us a chance to rest, set our defense, talk about assignments, get organized offensively for the next possession. And so if it did anything negative, then I'm not going to focus on that. So we're grateful that they went, and more grateful that 2 of the 3 went our way.
What can you say about Trey's play all weekend, just his leadership in those late game moments, stepping up?
I thought today was as impressive of a performance as he's had all year, for the reason that he jammed his thumb. Things weren't going well. He made a couple of defensive errors that are uncharacteristic of him. And the last 6 or 7 minutes, he came in at closing time and looked like a quarterback that was determined to win and find a way. He broke down their defense on several occasions. He came up with big rebounds and loose basketballs, and ultimately that's why we won.
Anything else? Is this your favorite time of year? Is that fair to say?
I love summer. The guys don't have a lot of classes. I don't have to do media. Media is less frequent. I love every part of our job. So I don't know if this is our favorite time. I know that winning a championship makes it allows us to bring a group together for 10 years, 20 years, and their families to know each other and all the things that really matter.
Vlad follows you from Florida. Beginning of the season a little slow. Now he's the most outstanding player in winning this tournament. And what can you just say about him and his growth?
I mean, he's such a good basketball player. I mean, I can't think of a center in the United States of America at the college level that I would take over Vlad Golden. And he's as good of a player as he is. He's a better teammate and better human being. And so just once again, privileged that he's on our team.